Hello, my name is Carter Kirchhevel, and I have a show called Catching Up with Carter on Thursdays from 10 to 11 a.m. on Saddleback College Radio 88.5 HD2. Check out and subscribe down below if you'd like to see more recordings of this show and to see my NFL and college football takes.
Did you miss your football games this week? Do you need to catch up? Welcome to Catching Up with Carter here on Saddleback College Radio. Thursdays at 10, he will recap it all.
Hello and welcome to Catching Up with Carter here on 88.5 HD2 Saddleback College Radio. We're just listening to Remember Me by David. Want to go into this a little bit, but Arcane, great show. Go and watch that. I really enjoyed it. If you go and watch it, there's 3 more episodes coming out on Saturday. Just going to go into that a little bit. Just a great show. They do a very good job being able to do some character development. But remember, this show is about the NFL and college football. So we're going to get right into it. Welcome to Catching Up with Carter. We'll recap all Los Angeles sports. We're going to cover the Rams, Chargers, Raiders, and 49ers games. And for college, we'll cover USC, UCLA, and of course, Saddleback College Football. We're going to listen to On the Level by Mac DeMarco, and we're going to get right into our football recap. For segment 3 this time, we're going to go into some rumors around the league. Of course, we're going to be talking about the New York Giants. We're going to be talking about the Bears issues, just like kind of what we were talking about last week. We're going to go into that again here, so make sure to stay here for the entire show. We're on from 10 to 11. You're listening to 88.5 HD2 Saddleback College Radio, Catching Up with Carter.
Rams, Chargers, 49ers, Raiders, USC, UCLA, and of course, Saddleback Football. He covers it all. It's Carter Kirchhevel, your Saddleback student sports voice.
Hello and welcome back to Catching Up with Carter here on 88.5 HD2 Saddleback College Radio. We're going to get right into our sports recap. We're going to give 3 takeaways from each matchup for the Rams, Chargers, Raiders, and 49ers. We're going to give those 3 takeaways, see kind of what's going on for their team, what they're looking forward to for the rest of the season, and maybe some things they need to improve. So we're going to start off right away with the Rams. And now for the Rams, actually, I just wanted to go right away. I've been hearing that audio, not even just here in the studio, but I've also been hearing it at the stadium. I've been a few times this year, got to see the Rams play. I got to see them play against the Dolphins this year, and I also got to see them play against the Vikings this year. I was actually at that game with my dad. He's a huge Vikings fan. So the Rams, it's been a fun time being able to go to SoFi. And I'm actually going on January 6th. I'm going to go over and see the Seahawks play. So we'll see how that game goes, but we're going to go right into the recap for them as they played against the Patriots this week, and they won 28-22. And in the first quarter, start off the Patriots, they got a touchdown to go up 7-0. Kendrick Bourne, he's back for this roster for the Patriots, and that was the end of the first quarter for scoring. Then the Patriots, they start off with a punt, and they punt it right back because the Rams punt at the end of the first. And then the Rams, they find the end zone. Cooper Kupp, he gets a touchdown, so finally getting back in stride. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, doing a good job. And the Patriots, they fumble the ball and turn it right over. And the Rams, they score another touchdown. This is where Puka, he got his touchdown in this game. It's 14-7. Patriots then, they get a field goal. It's 10-14, a little bit closer. The Rams, they try a field goal right at the end of the first half, and they miss that one. Carty kind of having an off season, just missing a few. I got to watch actually a few of those misses against the Dolphins and the Vikings this year, so maybe we'll see maybe a new kicker, but I think Carty's okay. We'll see how it goes. And then the Rams, they score right after halftime. They take the lead 21-10. The Patriots, they find a field goal to get some points on the board, 13-21. The Rams then get a touchdown to extend the lead further. It's 28-13. That's the end of the third quarter. And then the Patriots, they find the end zone. It's 19-28. They get a field goal. It's 22-28. And Drake May, he throws an interception at the end of the game. And that's it. So the Rams, they get another win. They're 5-5 on the season, looking for the NFC West title. They probably can get that one. As a 49ers fan myself, not happy about that. But the Rams, they've been playing great football. And going through some takeaways, the Rams, number one takeaway for me is the Rams may win the NFC West. If everything pans out and the offense can keep going and keep playing the way they've been. They've been playing really well, and if they can keep Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp going, they will probably win the NFC West. And that's my number two takeaway. The wide receiver duo between Puka and Kupp may be the best in the NFL. That if they're healthy, they are going to go off, and they've been very deadly for this team. Number three takeaway, though, Drake May really was actually doing well against this defense until that interception at the end. And the defense, they did hold on, but they struggled a little bit in coverage against a struggling Patriots roster. So we'll see. I think the Rams defense will hold on. I think the Rams are going to be okay. It just depends. It really is depending because the NFC West is super competitive and it can go any way. So we'll see what happens. But that's the end of our Rams recap. We're going to get right into the Los Angeles Chargers, the other Los Angeles team. Now, for the Chargers, they played on Sunday Night Football against the Bengals. And a little story here, my roommate, who I've gone to a ton of Chargers games with, he went with his family and finally saw a Chargers win in person. He was so happy when he got back, super excited. That was Ludwin. He was on our show just a few weeks ago talking about the Chargers, talking about them getting into stride. And really, they did get to stride. They won 34-27 in this game, but we'll see. Kind of a little bit different of a story. If you look at that score right away, you may think, oh, the Chargers, they won pretty handedly. They won by a score and did really well. Well, the first half, that's kind of how it went. So we're going to go through this. The Bengals, they start with a field goal. It's 3-0. The Chargers, they get a touchdown. It's 7-3. Will Dissly, he's doing pretty well for this roster, too, for the Chargers. Justin Herbert, he's been going to him a lot this year. Bengals, they get a field goal. Again, it's 6-7. Then Herbert, he goes deep to Quentin Johnston. Chargers go up 14-6. Chargers are able to set up get a sack, and it sets up a third down, and it's a punt for the Bengals. They have to punt it right back. Chargers go for it on 4th and goal from the 1-yard line. And J.K. Dobbins, he scores a touchdown. It's 21-6. Chargers get another field goal. It's 24-6. Watching this game, I thought it was over after the first half. It's 24-6. But it was a different story. The Bengals, they end up coming back in the second half. The Chargers, they do get a field goal right away. It's 27-6. Then the Bengals, they score a touchdown. They score then another touchdown. It's 20-27. Then Herbert, he turns the ball over, and that ends the third quarter. The Bengals, then they find Jamar Chase in the end zone to tie it at 27. It was ridiculous. This game went back and forth. Really, the first half was all Chargers. Second half was all Bengals. So it was just a different story in the second half. But then J.K. Dobbins, he found the end zone, and they scored 34-27. And the Bengals, they went for a Hail Mary at the end of the game, but it was dropped, and the game ends. And it was T. Higgins on that last Hail Mary. I was almost thinking it was going to be a Washington Commanders type of game. And so in my number one takeaway, the Chargers can still Charger a game, as they had a great lead in the first half, but the second half was a different story. The defense needs to be on point the whole game. And if it wasn't for a missed field goal, if it was a missed field goal from Evan McPherson in the second half, if it wasn't for that, it may have been a different story for this roster and just in general how they've been playing. And the Chargers themselves, they squeaked out with a win here, but it almost reminded me of the game against Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, and that was scary. As a fan of just Justin Herbert, the Chargers in general, I really like this team. I love Jim Harbaugh. I used to coach for the 49ers, so I've got to love Jim Harbaugh. And it looked like that game, and I was getting really nervous. And I don't know if it was just some luck there, but Chargers, they held on. They got the win. Number two takeaway, Herbert looked to be in true form as the passing game was immensely used in this matchup. Both the pass and run game are now a part of a diverse attack on this offense. So J.K. Dobbins, you've got Gus Edwards back there in the backfield. They've been doing a great job running the football, and passing the football now is doing a great job as Justin Herbert. And for our number three takeaway, is about the Bengals. The Bengals need to get things together. Joe Burrow is doing everything he can for this offense, and the defense is playing awful. This team could be a playoff contender, but they most likely won't with the defense and coaching struggles. And Zach Taylor, he's on the hot seat. So we saw Brandon Staley last year he was on the hot seat all year long for the Chargers, and now it's Zach Taylor for the Bengals. He's on the hot seat. They have not been coached well. Their defense has struggled. So we'll see what happens. I think he'll still be the coach for the year. He's brought this team to a Super Bowl. So we will see. The Chargers and Bengals, they both have pretty good futures ahead of them if the Bengals can get things going. The Chargers, they have a great future ahead of them, as now they are 7-3 on the year. They are a great team. They are most likely going to be a wild card roster or a wild card team, and they most likely will do a great job in the playoffs. That's the end of our Chargers recap. We're going to get right into the Las Vegas Raiders.
Raider Nation, stand up!
And for the Raiders, they played the Dolphins this week, and the final score was the Dolphins won 33-19, and really this was expected. Right away, the Raiders defense, they do force a fumble, but the Dolphins go for it on 4th and goal after recovering the ball on that fumble, and they go up 7-0. The Raiders do get a field goal. It's 3-7. That's the end of the first quarter. Then in the second, the Dolphins have to settle for their own field goal. It's 10-3. The Raiders then settle for another field goal, 6-10. That's halftime. The Dolphins then do a great job on their first drive after the first half. Tyreek Hill gets a touchdown to take a big lead, 17-6. Then Brock Bowers, he finds the end zone. So some life for this Las Vegas offense, 12-17, but they don't get that point after. Then Achane, after the third quarter ends, then he just finds a touchdown. It's 24-12. The Raiders then find the end zone to make it a game. It's 19-24. And then Jonnu Smith, he was wide open. Go back and watch this game. Go to the highlights. Jonnu Smith had a game. He had 2 touchdowns. Maybe he might be a pickup for fantasy football, but he got a long touchdown. And then the Dolphins, they got a long field goal after that. It's 33-19, and that's it. The Raiders, they run out of time, and the game ends. And number one takeaway for this team, though, Brock Bowers. He is a top tight end in this league, and he needs to be respected like one. He was looking great even with a bad quarterback situation. He's got Gardner Minshew back there. He's been playing great football. He's been doing a very good job for this offense. Number two takeaway, the Dolphins on their side, they are still contenders. With 4 wins, it's an open AFC conference. They could be an easy wild card team. They will not win their division. The Bills are definitely going to win the AFC East, but they can easily be a wild card team, and they can compete. They're doing a great job now with Tua back. Number 3 takeaway, it's tank season. The Raiders should be looking for early picks so they can rebuild. They have pieces, though. They have Bowers, as I said before. They have Max Crosby and just a few more, such as a quarterback, some defensive pieces. Could put this team over the hump. I think they actually could come back stronger next year if they actually have a good draft. They need to go into the draft with some good analysts to figure out who is going to be the talent they need to do well. That is the end of our Raiders recap, and now we're going to go into the 49ers.
Droopy on the beat. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
The 49ers this week, they played against the Seahawks at 1:05 p.m., and the Seahawks won 20-17. It's a sad sight to see for myself. But Seattle, they've been playing great football, and we're going to go through this recap here and kind of talk about the takeaways, because the takeaways are a big key for this 49ers team. So right away, the 49ers, they're forced to punt on their first drive. Then the Seahawks, they drive down the field. They get a field goal. They're up 3-0. Brock Purdy, then he runs in a touchdown, so showing his athleticism. It's 7-3. That ends the first quarter. The Seahawks then have to punt on their first drive. Purdy then throws an interception off a tip and turns the ball over. The 49ers defense then makes a huge stop to force a field goal, 6-7, and the 49ers, they have to punt. Then the Seahawks, they have to punt it right back, and that ends the first half. So the first half of play, the 49ers, they stop the Seahawks a little bit. It's 6-7, so they're up by 1 point. And then Geno Smith, he turns the ball over right after halftime. So really, I thought this game was in the 49ers' hands, but it just wasn't the case. They do get a field goal. It's 10-6. And then Kenneth Walker, he scored a touchdown. It's 13-10. Jennings then found a touchdown of his own to respond. The 49ers go up 17-13. The 49ers then stuff the Seahawks on 4th and 1 and do get the ball back, but they have to punt right away on a 3-and-out. And then Geno Smith, he runs into the end zone with 12 seconds left to go and take the lead at 20-17, and that was it. They go for a passing back and forth play at the end, the 49ers, and that's it. They run the clock out, and really, this is just not a good sight to see. Number one takeaway for this team, 49ers, they're going to miss the playoffs most likely if this continues. This division is the worst in the NFL, to be honest, because of how competitive it is, and it is still possible. They can win their division, but this team, they need to get it right. They have not been well, and it's almost like they look sick. They've been injured. They just do not look good, and not good at all. Number two takeaway, the 49ers struggled a ton without Nick Bosa. Bosa was out in the second half, and 2 touchdowns came with it. So if it looks like he's going to be missing weeks, so it's not a good look. Not good at all for this 49ers team. Not at all. And number 3 takeaway, divisional games matter. They do. The 49ers are now 1-3 in divisional matchups, and they need to win their last 2 games if they want a chance at the division. They need to beat the Cardinals, and they need to beat the Rams. They need to win those 2 games if they want to even have a chance. They really do. They really need to win those games. And that's the end of our NFL recap. We are going to take a little break here. We're going to listen to a song, Selah by Kanye West. We're going to listen to that, and we're going to come back with college football. We're going to be talking about UCLA and USC. They both had games this week, and they play each other this weekend. So we're going to be talking all about that, all about their game, and all about the takeaways for both teams and what it looks like for this coming week's matchup. You're listening to 88.5 HD2 Saddleback College Radio, catching up with Carter. Hello and welcome back to Catching Up with Carter, here on 88.5 HD2 Saddleback College Radio. I'm having trouble even saying my own name today. We're all good here on Catching Up with Carter. We were just listening to Selah by Kanye West, one of my favorite songs. I enjoy it so much. If you want to suggest some songs, go to the Discord server. It is on 88.5. It is on our website. If you go to jazz88.5.org, it is all there. Go check that out. Click on the link, join the Discord server. There's the Catching Up with Carter little section. You can go in there and you can request some songs to be played here on the air. We're going to get right into our college football recap. We have USC, UCLA, and Saddleback College Football. As a lot of you know, Saddleback College Football, they've got a bowl game coming up, and USC and UCLA, they play each other this coming week. So we're going to be talking all about that and takeaways from this last week. We're going to start with USC. All right, and starting with USC and the Trojans, they played against the Cornhuskers this week, all the way from Nebraska, and they won 28-20. So they did get a win. They are 5-5 on the year. Going through this recap, USC, they start with a pick 6 on their first drive, as Jordan Maava throws it right to the defender, 7-0. So right away, it really looks like Miller Moss should be in, but Jordan's playing, and he shows why later in the game. Then Branch, he finds the end zone off a wide receiver screen to tie it at 7, so that's the end of the first quarter. Then Maava finds a wide out in the end zone and takes the lead 14-7. Nebraska then finds the end zone off a mesh concept, ties the game at 14. It's 14-14. Then Nebraska got the ball back, but turned the ball over right away with an interception, and that is halftime. So it's a tie game here. And right after halftime, Nebraska, they got a field goal at 17-14. Then Deuce Robinson, he goes for a long touchdown catch and goes up 21-17. Trojans, they finally get the ball back, and they go down and get a field goal off of it and make it a 1-point game. It's 20-21. So a close game here. Very good football game in college football. That ends the third quarter. USC, then they try a field goal, but it's blocked. We saw that in the NFL a lot this last week. And the Cornhuskers, they took right back over. USC, they get the ball back, and Jordan Maiava gets a rushing touchdown, 28-20. Nebraska then tries a deep shot, but it is intercepted, and the Trojans hold on for the win, 28-20. And going through some takeaways here right away, didn't really talk about him a lot in the recap, but that's because he set up a lot of these scores. Woody Marks, he's still the reason this team is churning. They're doing a great job in the running game, and it's done good work for the Trojans. Number 2 takeaway, Jordan Maiava did have a good game, but nothing super special. He struggled early, but started to figure it out. He did do well, but Miller Moss, I really like him. I really like Miller Moss. I really wish he could play. I don't get why he was benched. I don't know. They benched him. He had a struggling year. They did get a win with Jordan, so maybe that's why, but I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me at all. It's just how it goes. I guess that's how I could say it. It's just how it goes. And number 3 takeaway, the defense looked pretty strong, and the turnovers from the offense caused many points, but they were able to force field goals other than touchdowns, so they were able to hold on that way. And that's the end of our USC recap. We'll see how they do against UCLA, and we're going to get right into our recap about UCLA. Sorry about that. We're going to get right into UCLA as they got a win against the Huskies this week on Friday, 31-19. And right away, we're just going to get right into this. The Bruins, they have to punt on their first drive. The Huskies punt it right back, and it's just a punt game right away in the first quarter. But the Huskies, they finally find the end zone for a touchdown, and they get a passing touchdown, 7-0. That ends the first quarter. Then UCLA, they get a field goal. It's 3-7. And then after that, the Huskies, they take advantage of a personal foul off of a interception by the defense. So there was a personal foul that negated an interception by UCLA, and the Huskies, they stayed on offense. They took advantage. They got a touchdown. It's 14-3. But then UCLA, they responded. It is 10-14, and that is halftime. So it's a close game here. Really, UCLA has been showing this all year. They've been able to stay in games. It's been a close game all year for them. It's been basically close games every single game, so we'll see. Maybe they'll be able to have that against USC. But then the second half, it was a different story. So the Huskies, they start off, they do throw an interception and turn the ball over, and UCLA, they do get a field goal off of that. It's 13-14, but UCLA, they fumble the ball right back and turn it over, and the Huskies, they take a field goal. It's 17-13, and that ends the third quarter. So you're thinking, close game, 4-point game, end of the third, and then it just kind of just awful. Awful for UCLA. They let up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, ending at 31-13. And Garbers, he did get a touchdown right at the end. It's 19-31, but nothing special. Really nothing special at the end. It's stat padding at that point. So 19-31, not a good scoreline, not really good to go into your next week against USC. This is one of the games you wanted to win. And so this team right now, they're 4-6 on the year, and they need to get going. They really do. And so number 1 takeaway, UCLA looked good in the first half, but lost steam in the third quarter. They let up 2 touchdowns in the fourth. So just nothing left in the defensive side. And number 2 takeaway, Garbers looked pretty good overall with no turnovers and 2 touchdowns. He could be the reason the Bruins have a chance against the Trojans this coming week, but as we know, that second touchdown did come in the fourth quarter right at the end of the game. And then number 3 takeaway, UCLA's run game was non-existent. Even with a good performance the week before, it killed the Bruins offensively. They were not good. Harden did not have a good game. I think it was 33 rushing yards all game. Not good on that side of the football. And so UCLA, they really need to get things going on the running side. And that's the end of our UCLA recap. We're going to get right into Saddleback College football. They finished the regular season with a 7-3 record, and they got a win over San Jacinto College, 41-19, and they have a bowl game. It's the Patriotic Bowl next Tuesday at 2 p.m., and the Bobcats, they'll face Bakersfield College from the National Division Northern League. Saddleback versus Bakersfield is a repeat from the 2018 Patriotic Bowl, when Saddleback kicker Matthew Frem kicked a 32-yard field goal with 9 seconds remaining, so a game-winning field goal to beat the Renegades 34 34-31, hoping this will be a good game. And Saddleback, they're 3-2 all-time against Bakersfield, dating back to the first ever meeting in 2005. And Saddleback's last appearance in the postseason came in 2019. So it has been 5 years, and so we're hoping for a win. The last time they were in the playoffs, they lost 58-53 in the opening round of the Southern California Regional Playoffs. So we'll see how it goes in this bowl game. Should be very exciting how this goes. And that's the end of our college football recap. We still have one more segment for you all. We're going to go back and throw it back. We're going to go throwing back to Thursday. Sorry, not throw it back. That's ridiculous. We're going throwback Thursday. We're going to go back to a old Thursday night football matchup. Then we're going to go into basically a start and sit for fantasy football. And the last segment of the day is going to go into some rumors around the NFL. We'll see how that goes. Make sure to stay here. We're going to listen to Perspective by Cafune and To God by KB here on 88.5 Saddleback College Radio, 88.5 HD2. Hello and welcome back to Catching Up with Carter here on 88.5 Saddleback College Radio HD2. Thank you so much for listening so far. We've got one more segment for you all. We're going to go into Throwback Thursday, fantasy football, start and sit, and rumors around the NFL. So starting off with Throwback Thursday, I was doing some research on some memorable Week 12 Thursday night football matchups, and one stuck out to me, and I think a lot of you will also laugh at this one. It is the game that happened on November 22nd, 2012, so just basically a day from now, but it was on Thursday because, that's just how it works with the days. But it was the New York Jets. They hosted the New England Patriots, and this game became infamous for the butt fumble. It is a play that has lived long in NFL lore, and it was when Mark Sanchez, he collided with the backside of his offensive lineman, and he fumbled the ball, and it was recovered for a touchdown and contributed to just a sequence of events where the New England Patriots, they scored 21 points in just 52 seconds during the second quarter, and the Patriots, they dominated this game. They won 49-19, and really, no one really remembered that. It was just the butt fumble. Everyone remembered that, and it was just really, really funny to be able to research this again, and watching this clip again is ridiculous. Mark Sanchez, he's in the booth now doing a great job as a color broadcaster, and I'm hoping for him to basically get away from this, but I think he has already. But the butt fumble still will live on in just lore forever. It is an amazing play. It is ridiculous to watch. And the Patriots, they were amazing in this year too. This is Rob Gronkowski. This is Tom Brady. And they played a very good part in just how good the Patriots were. And that's why they won this game. But the butt fumble, of course, that's what we remember. Going into now our second portion of this just kind of talking segment, fantasy football players to start and avoid. We're going to go through all of the Week 12 matchups. I'm going to give you a player that I think you should start this week and a player you should sit on your bench if you have them in fantasy football. So we're going to start off with the game that's happening tonight. It is a bad game. It is the Steelers and the Browns. It's going to be Steelers all the way. It's on Prime Video, 5:15 p.m. I'm starting George Pickens. If you have him in your league, play him this week. He's going to do well. And sit Nick Chubb. This Steelers defensive line is going to crush, and I do not think Nick Chubb is going to do the best in his production. I have to play him this week. I don't have any other running backs, so I'm even playing him. So if you have to, play him. But if you can, avoid him. I had Ramondre Stevenson over him a few weeks ago when I could have him on the bench, so sit him. The next games, we're going to go right into the Sunday 10 a.m. games. We're going to start off with the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. I'm starting Jordan Addison this week. I have him in actually two different fantasy football leagues. Start Jordan Addison. I think he's going to receive a lot of targets. I think they're going to try to lock down my man Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison I think will get a lot of the targets, and sit DeAndre Swift. Swift had a great week last week. I do not think he's going to have the same production against this Minnesota defense. Then Titans at Texans, 10 a.m. as well. I'm starting Nico Collins. He's back. He's back in stride. Played well against the Cowboys. I think he's going to do great. And sit Tony Pollard. I don't think the Texans defensive line is going to allow any more than the Vikings defensive line or the Steelers defensive line as the teams we've talked about before. And Tony Pollard, I don't think he's going to have that type of production. Then the Chiefs at Carolina Panthers, 10 a.m. game. This game, I would just recommend watching anything else. I would watch paint dry over this game because the Chiefs are going to crush the Panthers. But I'm going to start Xavier Worthy. I think he's going to have a great game. I think they're going to go deep to him a few times. And I'd sit Xavier Legette. I think he's doing a great job with the Panthers, but he's not going to get anything on this Chiefs defense. Going to the next, Lions-Colts, 10 a.m. game. The Lions have been crushing everybody this year. I don't think it's going to be anything different. And I'm going to start Jameson Williams. He's in one of my fantasy leagues. Put him as your flex option. If you have him in your league and you're thinking, maybe I'll play him, maybe I won't, play him. He is going to play really well in this matchup against this Indianapolis Colts defense, and sit Anthony Richardson. I don't think there's anything that Anthony Richardson is going to be able to do against this Lions defense. I know there's been a few defensive just misses for the Detroit Lions in the sense that they just lost Alonzo, and so we'll see if there's anything different, but Richardson, stay away from him. Go with someone else. Patriots, Miami Dolphins, 10 a.m. I'm going to start Kendrick Bourne. I know that's a crazy take from me, but Kendrick Bourne, I really like him. He used to be a 49er. I think he's going to be a big part of this offense, and the Patriots themselves have done well. They know Drake May is a good quarterback, and Kendrick Bourne is nothing else. I mean, Kendrick Bourne himself has done a great job just coming back into the system. He's scored a touchdown already, and I'm sitting Raheem Mostert. He's done really nothing this year. I would not play him in this week either. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at New York Giants, 10 a.m. game. Start Baker Mayfield. He's going to crush this defense, and sit Malik Neighbors. I don't think he's going to have the exact same type of production, and so I just don't see anything really happening for Malik Neighbors this week with a new quarterback, Tommy DeVito. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later, as Tommy DeVito is now the starter for the New York Giants, and Malik Neighbors, he's not going to do well with him, in my opinion. Next is Cowboys Commanders, 10 a.m. I'm saying start Zach Ertz. I have him in a league. I think he's a great tight end to play. He's going to do well. He's been the main target for Jaden Daniels. And sit any Cowboy. Any of them. Any of them. I'm telling you, any of them. I'm okay even if you sat CeeDee Lamb. I'm not kidding. If you sit CeeDee Lamb, I'd be okay with that. I don't think they're going to do anything against this team. Broncos-Raiders is the next one, 105. That's our first in the afternoon game here on the Pacific Coast. And the start, Cortland Sutton. I think he's going to do well against this Raiders struggling defense, and sit Jacoby Myers. I don't think he's going to do anything against this Broncos defense. Cortland Sutton himself is going to do great. And on the other side, it is Pat Surtain for the Broncos on defense, and Jacoby Myers is going to be locked down. Next game is Cardinals-Seahawks. I'll be watching this one. This one should be exciting. 1:25 p.m. I'm starting Kenneth Walker. I think he's going to do great. And I'm sitting Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think the defense for the Seahawks are going to allow MHJ to do anything. And so I'm going to sit him this week. I'm even sitting him in a league, and I know that's crazy. I mean, a lot of people would probably play him, but I'm not playing him this week. 49ers-Packers is next, 1:25 p.m. I'm starting Josh Jacobs. I think he's going to do great. The defense for the 49ers has been struggling, and I'm sitting Brock Purdy. I don't think the Packers are going to let up anything this week, and Brock Purdy is someone who is not going to play under pressure. I don't think he's going to play well against this Green Bay Packers team. Eagles-Rams, 5:20 p.m. It is Sunday Night Football. Start Devontae Smith in this game. That's the person I would say the most, but I said sit for everyone is a decent choice. I don't think there really is anybody to not play in this game. I think all of the players for the Rams and the Eagles are going to go off. I think this is going to be a high-scoring Sunday Night Football game. Again, it's SoFi. We had a Sunday Night Football game that was high-scoring with the Chargers and Bengals. I think this one is nothing other than that. And then the Monday Night Football game is the Ravens-Chargers, and I'm saying start Justin Herbert. I think he's going to go off, and sit Zay Flowers. This Chargers defense has been locked down, and Zay Flowers is not going to get the targets. All right, we're going to go into our rumors around the league, and unhappy about Daniel Jones being benched. This is the first rumor, and it's members of the New York Giants organization are reportedly unhappy with the team's decision to bench quarterback Daniel Jones. Per Fox Sports reports Jordan Schultz, there's a sense of disappointment about the decision, and players are upset that it was primarily a financial decision. It says that Dexter Lawrence said, he's the QB1. To me, he's the best quarterback on the team. He's the best quarterback. I don't really agree with you, Dexter Lawrence, but you are Dexter Lawrence, so you can say what you want. Another player also voiced his frustrations anonymously. He said, we're not idiots. They did it because of money, so be it. But Daniel has been all class, never complained, and is now being completely disregarded. The team record is bad. You can point fingers everywhere. To try to blame him is trash, and making him the third string is weak. It is. In my opinion, putting him as the third string, it looks like he's actually the fourth string now. It's a weak move on the Giants' part. And Jonesy has 2 years remaining on his contract and is set to earn $30 million in 2025 and $46.5 million in 2026. Within his contract lies a clause that states if he were to suffer an injury that prevented him from being able to pass a physical next March, the Giants would owe him $23 million, whether he is on the team or not. If he is on the team on the 5th day of the 2025 league year in March, $12 million of his 2025 salary would become guaranteed. So should the Giants release or trade Jones in the offseason? I think so. Trade him away. I don't think I wouldn't be mad if you trade him away. I'd say do it. Go ahead. Trade him away. It is a good idea. And our next rumor is the Jets owner wanted to bench Rodgers. It looks like Woody Johnson, he made a bold suggestion after the team's 2-2 start to the season. He said that he would like to bench Aaron Rodgers. Benching him after that loss against the Denver Broncos. And I agree. I agree with him. And I'm 100% on board. I know that is ridiculous, but Aaron Rodgers has not played well this year at all. I think that is totally okay to bench him. And I think it's okay that the owner says this. I think that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly okay to say to bench Aaron Rodgers. I know that's ridiculous to say because Aaron Rodgers is such a MVP type talent, but he has not played well. They are not playing structured offense. He should go. If anybody goes, he should go. And the last rumor we have is Belichick looking into the Jaguars. I know that's whack, and Belichick is, but it says right here that during this episode of Snoop City, The Athletic's Diana Rossini reported that former New England Patriots head coach Bill Belichick could target the Jaguars if they part ways with Doug Peterson. I think they probably will. And right away, it looks like he will. And it says it is highly unlikely that a partnership between Belichick and the owner could really come to fruition, but I think it's a good choice. If the Jaguars are struggling at the coaching position, looking at Belichick could be a good option to go for. I think it's a good idea to go for him. Bill Belichick, he's a great head coach. He's a defensive-minded head coach, and that's what they need the most is defense. So that's the end of our third segment here on Catching Up with Carter. Thank you so much for listening. We're going to listen to Where We Come From by Lecrae, and we will be right back. Thank you so much for listening here on 88.5 HD2 Saddleback College Radio. Hello and welcome back to Catching Up with Carter. Thank you so much for listening here. We just listened to Where We Come From by Lecrae, and that is the end of our show for today. We talked all about the takeaways for all of the NFL games, some start and sits for fantasy football, and we talked about college football. Make sure to come and support Saddleback College Football as they play in their bowl game for the first time in 5 years since 2019. Make sure to go check that out. That is this coming Tuesday. Go ahead and check that out. Should be very, very exciting. Very, very fun. I know I say very a little too much on this show, but we are done here. Thank you so much for listening. We have two more songs, Stuck in the Past by Josh Marriott and NC, and Give Me My Heart Back by Lecrae and Masked Wolf. Josh Marriott, very good friend of mine. Make sure to stay here for that song, and we will see you next week. The show will be pre-recorded. I will not be live. I have an Instagram live going here on @Carter Kirchhevel on Instagram. Go ahead and check that out as well if you will. And we will not have a live stream that time, but we will for the show after. It is Thanksgiving. Please have a good Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for listening here on 88.5 Saddleback College Radio, 88.5 HD2.